harmony. Harmony makes small things grow. Lack of it makes great things decay. नमस्कार, मैं रोमा मजूमदार आज के इस कार्यक्रम की कोऑर्डिनेटर। आप सबका इस वेबिनार में स्वागत है एवं सभी को 64 सामाजिक समरसता दिवस की शुभकामनाएं। आज के दिन संपूर्ण एबीवीपी परिवार के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। We ABVP family celebrates 6 December as a social harmony day to mark the death anniversary of Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar. Since today is 64th Social Harmony Day, so Dr. Bhim Rao Ambedkar के विचारों एवं आदर्शों को याद करना बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। With this motto, today's webinar is being organized. आज के इस वेबिनार का विषय है Dr. B.R. Ambedkar and his contribution to the construction of Indian Constitution. Now, I would like to introduce our first speaker, Professor Dr. M.S. Saundra Pandian, who is the principal of Andaman Law College, having a rich experience of 32 years in teaching. He did BL, ML in Law and Administration, MA Sociology, PhD in Labor Law, and he had secured first rank in his Bachelor of Law. He was selected as an efficient teacher teaching honor law degree by Tamil Nadu government. He had been serving as a junior professor since 1989. In 1998, he was appointed as associate professor. In 2010, he was appointed as a professor. In 2013, Tamil Nadu government appointed him as a first registrar of Tamil Nadu Law University. He have diverse experience as NSS program officer. He had successfully conducted 5 national seminars and 1 international conference as a seminar director. He had even conducted several competitions successfully. He had also served as Superintendent of UG and PG Law Board. He is also recognized as a PhD guide. He had even published a book and 19 research articles in reputed journals and is presently guiding 7 scholars for PhD. Currently Dr. M.S. Saundra Pandian is serving as a principal of Andaman Law College. The introduction is just never ending, so now I would like to introduce to our viewers to the second speaker, Dr. Pratap Chandra Nayak, who was once a member of ABVP, and we are really fortunate to have him. He did his MA Political Science, MPhil and PhD from University of Hyderabad. He had also served as a project assistant and teaching assistant at University of Hyderabad, as a lecturer at BIB College, and as an assistant professor at University of Gandhinagar. He had published several research publications in reputed journals. He have got wide range of knowledge and is even a fellow member of Indian Social Science Association. He is currently working as an academic associate at IIM Ahmedabad. We must say that Dr. Nayak have achieved a lot at such an young age. अब मैं हमारे ABVP के अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर संतोष कुमार झा को निवेदन करती हूँ कि वे हमारे मुख्य स्पीकर और पार्टिसिपेंट्स का स्वागत करें और सामाजिक समरसता दिवस के ऊपर अपना विचार प्रकट करें।
धन्यवाद रोमा मजूमदार। आज के इस पावन अवसर पर जो सामाजिक समरसता दिवस 64वीं सामाजिक समरसता दिवस, जिन्हें हम भारत रत्न डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर जी के महापरिनिर्वाण दिवस के अवसर पर मनाते हैं। इस 64वें परिनिर्वाण दिवस के अवसर पर मैं एबीवीपी के सभी कार्यकर्ताओं को हार्दिक शुभकामना और बधाई देता हूं। ज्ञानशील एकता के मंत्र को लेकर बढ़ रही अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद हमेशा वर्ष भर कई तरह के कार्यक्रम छात्रों के बीच में करती रही है। उसी कड़ी में आज का यह सामाजिक समरसता दिवस, जो अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद के प्रमुख प्रोग्राम में से एक रहती है हर साल, आज हमने डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर जी के कंट्रीब्यूशन जो इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में है, इस विषय पर विचार विमर्श करने के लिए वेबिनार का आयोजन किया है। अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद परिवार की तरफ से मैं सबसे पहले आज के इस प्रोग्राम में डॉक्टर MS सौंदर्य पांडियन, प्रिंसिपल अंडमान लॉ कॉलेज, जो हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं आज एक मुख्य वक्ता के रूप में, ब्रिलियंट इल्यूमिनरीज, वो हम लोगों को आज अपने विचारों से अवगत कराएंगे। सर का काफी एक्सपीरियंस है। आप जैसे आपने बायोडाटा यहाँ पे हम लोगों से शेयर कर रहे थे, हम लोग व्यक्तिगत तौर पर भी सर को जानते हैं, काफी अनुभवी हैं और लॉ के क्षेत्र में काफी अच्छा काम है उनका। तो आज उनके ज्ञान से हम सभी यहाँ लाभान्वित होंगे। मैं अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद के परिवार की तरफ से डॉक्टर MS सौंदर्य पांडियन जी का, प्राचार्य अंडमान लॉ कॉलेज का, इस वेबिनार में स्वागत और अभिनंदन करता हूँ। नमस्कार सर। हमारे दूसरे जो स्पीकर हैं आज के, डॉक्टर प्रताप चंद्र नायक, एकेडमिक एसोसिएट, इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मैनेजमेंट, अहमदाबाद, अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद अंडमान निकोबार विभाग की तरफ से मैं डॉक्टर प्रताप चंद्र नायक जी का भी हार्दिक स्वागत और अभिनंदन करता हूं। मुझे इस बात का गर्व है कि डॉक्टर नायक भी अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद के कार्यकर्ता रहे हैं। खुशी भी है कि उन्होंने अपनी कीमती समय निकालकर आज हम लोगों के बीच अपने विचार प्रकट करने के लिए उपस्थित हैं। मैं अंडमान निकोबार विभाग के अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद के विभाग प्रमुख डॉक्टर कांडीमुथु जी, जो कि असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर हैं इकोनॉमिक्स में JNRM कॉलेज में, उनका भी स्वागत करता हूं। विभाग सेक्रेटरी राजशेखर का हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं यहाँ पे। और हमारे बीच उपस्थित हैं डॉक्टर प्रशांत श्रीवास्तव, नगर उपाध्यक्ष डॉक्टर के वेंकटेशन जी, हेड एंड असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर होम साइंस।
नमस्ते।
श्री वेंकटेश कुमार सिंह, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर JNRM, डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पॉलिटिकल साइंस। और हमारे ऑफिस सेक्रेटरी पार्थसारथी, और आज की एंकर सुश्री रामा मजुमदार के साथ साथ अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद के तमाम जो कार्यकर्ता हमारे बीच यहाँ उपस्थित हैं। और इस वेबिनार में पार्टिसिपेट करने वाले सभी लोगों को मेरा स्वागत है, मेरी तरफ से स्वागत है। मैं अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद की तरफ से और व्यक्तिगत तौर पर भी मैं उनका हार्दिक स्वागत और अभिनंदन करता हूं। आज का जो यह अवसर है, सामाजिक समरसता दिवस, अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद के लिए की दृष्टि से यह बहुत ही पवित्र अवसर है, क्योंकि हम लोगों का प्रयास, हम अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद की एक मैंडेट है कि समाज के उन वर्ग तक जहां तक की सुविधा नहीं पहुंची है, उन वर्ग को भी मुख्य धारा में शामिल करें। और उसके लिए इस दिवस पर हम लोग एक संकल्प लेते हैं। अगर हम भारत रत्न डॉक्टर अंबेडकर साहब के शब्दों में कहें तो उनका कहना था कि we must note that our political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the base of it social democracy. What does social democracy mean? It means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality, and fraternity as the principle of life. Out of these three, liberty, equality, and fraternity, the fraternity is the least discussed idea. Baba Sahib said that he had taken this idea from the teaching of Buddhas and not from the French Revolution, though this sentence get its recognitions from the French Revolution. The ABVP takes inspiration from the Ambedkar's idea of harmony and has been actively involved in creating a strong fraternity among students. The ABVP started organizing programs to commemorate the Parinirvan Divas of Baba Saheb Ambedkar as Samrasta Divas since the Raipur National Convention of 1980. Even before this, many programs were organized to spread Ambedkar's message of harmony. These included birthday of national icons, as well as educational activities in slums, tribal areas, and villages. On one of the birth anniversary of Veer Savarkar, ABVP organized Samata Jyoti Yatra in different parts of Maharashtra, and since then it was considered that on the occasion of Dr. Ambedkar's Parinirvan Divas, ABVP will every year organize Samrasta Divas. Similarly, many programs based on the individual who has contributed for the socially downtrodden individuals like Mahatma Jyotiba Phule and many more. ABVP organizing several programs, but this program is having immense importance for the ABVP as social change is essential for a better society. Social change is a constant process which can become fully successful only through a political and non-governmental efforts. Blame game over inequality among different social groups cannot resolve the purpose. One cannot find a solution only through a struggle. हम अंबेडकर जी के विचारों को इतना महत्व इसलिए देते हैं कि वह एक ऐसा इंडिविजुअल है, एक ऐसा व्यक्ति है जिन्होंने बिना वर्ग संघर्ष के जितनी बड़ी सामाजिक परिवर्तन की, शायद भारतीय आधुनिक इतिहास में ऐसा बड़ा परिवर्तन बिना वर्ग संघर्ष का मेरे नजर में तो कम से कम नहीं है, और शायद आप लोग भी इस बात से सहमत होंगे। अगर हम भीमराव अंबेडकर जी का थोड़ा जीवन देखें तो 14 अप्रैल 1891 में इनका जन्म है, और अगर हम छात्रों के लिए इनका कंट्रीब्यूशन देखें तो छात्र क्या सीख सकते हैं इनसे कि परिस्थितियां कितनी भी कठिन क्यों ना हो, कितना भी डिसएडवांटेजेस ग्रुप से हम क्यों ना हो, उन्होंने जिन उच्च शिक्षा को हासिल किया, शायद हमारे इन छात्र कार्यकर्ता को ध्यान में होगा कि वो केवल इंडियन ज्यूरिस्ट नहीं थे, वो केवल इकोनॉमिस्ट नहीं थे, पॉलिटिशियन थे, और एबव ऑल सबसे बड़ा सोशल रिफॉर्मर थे। उन्होंने डिस्क्रिमिनेशन अगेंस्ट अनटचेबल्स के लिए जो कैंपेन शुरू किया, उन्होंने वीमेन और जो डाउन ट्रोडन लोग थे उनके लिए, और ऐसे लोग जिनकी आवाज लोगों तक नहीं पहुंच रही थी, उनके लिए आवाज उठाना शुरू किया, जिन्हें आज हम अंत्योदय के रूप में लेते हैं, अंत्योदय के लिए काम करना शुरू किया। उनका कहना था कि लाइफ शुड बी ग्रेट रादर देन लॉन्ग। हमें अच्छे से लंबी जिंदगी की तुलना में अगर हम कम ही जिए लेकिन क्वालिटी जिए और दूसरों के भलाई के लिए जिए तो हमारा जीवन सफल है। उन्होंने महार कास्ट, जो उस समय के लिए सोशली डाउन ट्रोडन मानी जाती थी, उस कास्ट में जन्म लेने के बाद भी इतनी उच्च शिक्षा हासिल किया, और उसमें तमाम कठिनाइयां थी। उन कठिनाइयों को ओवरकम करते हुए वो एक मनीषी बने। भारतीय मनीषियों में उनकी गणना की जाती है, और आज के विद्यार्थियों के लिए तो निश्चित रूप से वो आदर्श हैं, हम सभी के लिए आदर्श हैं। शायद आप सभी ने ये सुनी होगी कि जिस बालक ने कक्षा के बाहर बैठकर उपेक्षित रहकर अपनी शिक्षा, स्कूली शिक्षा पूर्ण की, वही व्यक्ति भारत में जब स्वतंत्रता मिली और उसके बाद कानून बनने की बात आई, यहाँ की संविधान बनाने की बात आई, संविधान बनाने की बात आई, तो उन्हें याद किया गया, और उन्हें याद इस तरह से किया गया कि कौन से व्यक्ति हो सकते हैं कि जो संविधान के निर्माण में अपना उनकी खासकर ड्राफ्ट करने में महत्वपूर्ण योगदान दे सकें। तो पता चला कि डॉक्टर भीमराव अंबेडकर जी में ये क्षमता है। उनकी इंग्लिश राइटिंग, उनकी जो इंटरनेशनल समझ है, उनका जो कानून का ज्ञान है वो, और उनका जो भारत के समाज में सभी वर्गों के लिए जो उनकी श्रद्धा है, उस हिसाब से बहुत ही उपयुक्त होंगे। और संविधान सभा का जब गठन हुआ तो ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी के चेयरमैन के रूप में उन्हें बनाया गया, ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी के चेयरमैन बने। हम सबको मालूम है कि एक अस्थायी समिति बनी जिसके अध्यक्ष सच्चिदानंद सिन्हा जी बने। फिर उसके बाद स्थायी अध्यक्ष के रूप में डॉक्टर राजेंद्र प्रसाद जी बने, और एक कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल कमेटी बनी, और उस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल कमेटी में कई सारे लोग थे। खासकर एक ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी बनी जिसके चेयरमैन डॉक्टर BR अम्बेडकर जी बने। अन्य कई सारे मेंबर्स थे उसमें, गोपाल स्वामी, फिर अय्यर साहब थे, डॉक्टर KM मुंशी थे, सदुल्ला जी थे, माधवराव थे, खैतान जी थे, और कई सारे लोग जिनको मिला के ड्राफ्टिंग कमेटी बनाया गया था। उनके अध्यक्ष रहे। तो हमारे साथ आज 2 इल्यूमिनरीज हैं जो बहुत ज्यादा डिटेल में आपको इनके
हेलो
जो कंट्रीब्यूशंस हैं उनके बारे में बताएंगे।
सर।
मैं
हेलो
और
सर।
ज्यादा समय नहीं दूंगा। पुनः मैं
हेलो सर।
डॉक्टर
हेलो
MS सौंदर्य पांडियन जी का, प्रिंसिपल हनुमान लॉ कॉलेज, और डॉक्टर प्रताप चंद्र नायक जी का फिर से एक बार अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद अंडमान निकोबार विभाग की तरफ से हार्दिक स्वागत और
हेलो सर।
अभिनंदन करता हूं। और मंच संचालन के लिए फिर रोमा मजूमदार से रिक्वेस्ट करता हूं कि ओवर टू यू रोमा प्लीज। धन्यवाद।
जी बिल्कुल। सबसे पहले तो धन्यवाद डॉक्टर संतोष कुमार जी झा अपने बहुमूल्य विचार प्रकट करने के लिए। So taking the webinar further, I request our first speaker, Dr. MS Soundra Pandian, Principal of Andaman Law College, to share his views on today's webinar.
हाँ रोमा, over to you. Yes.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Fine.
हाँ जी,
Respected organizers of Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, respected another speaker, Dr. Pratap Chandra Nayak, Academic Associate, IIM Ahmedabad, respected Dr. Santosh Kumar Jha, who delivered the welcome address, respected learned faculty members of various higher educational institutions in general and in particular Dr. Kandimuthu, a faculty member of JNRM, Learned Professor Dr. Venkatesan, HOD of Home Science Department of JNRM, Dr. Venkatesh Kumar Singh, a faculty member of Department of Political Science in JNRM, and the city secretary, Sri Parthasarathi, who is also our beloved student of Andaman Law College, and other friends. A very pleasant good morning to one and all present in this Google Meet. In this mortal earth, some have achieved immortality by their deeds and services to mankind. Such people will live long in the memories of men forever. One such personality undeniably is Baba Sahib Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar. At the outset, let us pay rich tribute and gratitude to this legendary leader, Dr. Ambedkar, who laid a very strong foundation for a democratic legal system through his vibrant, living, and futuristic constitution for our motherland. This day, the 6th December, the day of the death anniversary of Dr. Ambedkar, is being observed as Social Equality Day. I am happy that on the eve of the 64th death anniversary of Dr. Ambedkar, the largest students organization in this country, namely ABVP, has organized this webinar on this topic, namely Ambedkar's contribution to Constitution of India. Since the days of mythology, we see time and again that the lotus blooms in the mire. In the same way, Dr. Ambedkar glowed in a blue moon night of 14th April 1891 in an untouchable Mahan family in a village in the state of Madhya Pradesh. In his early age, he suffered a lot due to innumerable socio-economic discrimination practiced by the then society. This made him realize that the society was full of social inequalities, which also resulted in exploitation. This social environment made him a social revolutionary in future, not only in his thoughts, but also in his deeds, to make India a very progressive society. One will admire to know his educational achievements. Basically, he is a graduate with BA degree in economics and political science. Probably he would be the first untouchable to enter the university. He studied MA at Columbia University in New York in the year 1915, and he was awarded with the state scholarship, Baroda State Scholarship, by the then king. Subsequently, in the year 1917, he was awarded with a PhD degree in economics for his celebrated thesis on economic principles. Thereafter, he returned to India and started a weekly paper, namely Muk Nayak, just to champion the cause of the downtrodden classes in India. Again, he went back and got qualified as barrister in the year 1920 from the Clays Inn at London. Again, for the second time, he was secured a PhD degree by the University of London in the year 1921 for his thesis, provisional decentralization of imperial nuance in British India. University of Columbia also awarded LLD degree, the highest degree in law, Doctor of Laws, in the year 1942, followed by Indian University, a reputed university, namely Osmania University, also honored him with D.Litt degree in the year 1953, and posthumously he was conferred with Bharat Ratna. When we look at the political map of Dr. Ambedkar, it is also inspiring. Attracted and inspired by Mahatma Gandhiji, he joined the Indian freedom movement. He attended the Round Table Conference in the year 1932 and succeeded in securing separate constituencies for the untouchables for the first time. He became the first law minister in independent India. When we also look at his early efforts in making of the Indian Constitution, that is also worth mentioning here. Britisher never accepted that India had the right or might to frame a constitution for themselves. When this was raised in the Round Table Conference by the Britisher, it was suitably responded and retaliated by the legendary Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the following words: I am afraid it is not sufficiently realized that in the present temper of this country, no constitution will be workable, which is not acceptable to the majority of the people. The time when you were to choose and the Indian were to accept is gone, never to return. Let the consent of the people and not the accident of logic be the touchstone of your new constitution, if you desire that it should be worked. Therefore, what I would like to convey is, when the Britishers considered that Indian did not have that competency to frame a constitution for themselves, Dr. Ambedkar was the first Indian who objected. He said, the days where the Britishers would dictate and decide everything for India, those days have gone. Therefore, whatever constitution is to be imposed on India, it has to be drafted by the people of India alone. And no constitution can be thrust upon the people of India. That is what he meant. Therefore, he protested that Indians should frame their own constitution. The Simon Commission was appointed to find the modus operandi, to find a solution. And the result was the formation of Nehru Committee headed by Motilal Nehru. And as the earlier speaker who delivered the welcome address pointed out, when the question of framing of the Indian Constitution came up, Motilal Nehru, Jawaharlal Nehru and also Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel were of the opinion that an internationally renowned constitutional expert, namely Jennings, Sir Jennings, would be invited to frame the Indian Constitution. But this idea was totally objected by the father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhiji, when we had our own legal luminary, a legal legend, an outstanding statesman who has a very vast knowledge on the functioning of the constitution of various countries. Mahatma Gandhiji suggested Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, an apt personality who would have that efficiency and competency to frame the Indian Constitution for better India. Accepting the words of Mahatma Gandhi ji, the commission came forward to accept, nominate Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the chairman of the drafting committee of the Constituent Assembly. When we take up the main point for the discussion today, namely his contribution to the Constitution of India, in what respect Dr. B.R. Ambedkar contributed for the prosperity of the free India in the Constitution, I would like to concentrate firstly on national integration, building of national integration. When India became free, the Himalayan task was to consolidate all the princely states. Probably no country would have experimented and experienced such a difficult exercise. However, surprisingly, India could successfully and peacefully consolidate all those states in one union. As a result, there emerged India as a plural society where people belong to different region, people profess different religion, people speak different languages, people follow different culture, people practice different tradition and custom. These diversified social conditions presented really a very difficult task for Ambedkar to draft a constitution which will promote real national integration. However, he was successful in making India a land of unity in diversity, which has been considered to be a uniqueness of the Indian society. When we look at the preamble, which is considered to be a vision statement of the Constitution of India, where we find we, the people of India, having solemnly socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and the integrity of the nation. I am now referring to and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and the integrity of the nation. The unity and the integrity, that was his projection. He wanted to have unity in spite of innumerable differences existing among the people. Religious difference, region difference, language difference, cultural difference, customary difference, and so on. We, Indian, that attitude will have to be developed. Only with that in aim, in order to promote a true national integration among all Indians, he formulated the very vision statement, namely the preamble to the Indian Constitution. That is why he also incorporated as the first article in the Indian Constitution, India, that is Bharat, shall be the union of states. Though in principle he accepted that Indian polity should be federal, he advocated that, he wanted that there should be a very strong central government, however incorporating certain unitary features. Say for example, single citizenship. Most of you may be aware of the fact that in USA there exists a dual citizenship. A citizen who is a citizen of the state will be simultaneously a citizen of the federal government also. Therefore, if single citizenship is being followed, he believed that national integration would be truly promoted. In the same way, other developed democracies in the world, he advocated single judiciary. At the apex, Supreme Court is considered to be the highest court in this country. Not only that, while classifying the powers among the state and the central, when we refer to the relevant schedule in the Indian Constitution, the 7th schedule, we find union list, state list, and also concurrent list. All the important and vital matters were placed under union list. The very object of placing those subject matters in the union list, according to Ambedkar, was there must be uniformity in fundamental laws. By enactment of various laws, the center and the state, the people should not be divided. Not only that, he also advocated that religious rights will have to be protected. And he also concentrated more on, in the Indian Constitution, protection of religious as the minorities, not only on the basis of religion, but also on the basis of language. Both religious and linguistic minorities have been adequately protected under the provisions of the Indian Constitution. That was his vision. Secondly, when we examine in the sphere of social justice, Ambedkar advocated that social justice is a vehicle leading to a just society. And exploitation is totally antithesis to rule of law. When our democracy is wedded to rule of law, social justice should prevail. He also believed that political democracy cannot survive if it is not based on social democracy. As the learned speaker who extended welcome address pointed out, social democracy means a way of life founded on liberty, equality, and fraternity as the principles of life. Wherever an opportunity comes, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, in his words, imprinted in the Constitution of India, that this principles of social justice, namely liberty, equality, and fraternity, play a very predominant role in the entire scheme of the Indian Constitution. In the preamble also, he mentioned that justice is one of the most important aim which is sought to be achieved by the Constitution of India. It may be in the form of social justice, economic justice, and political justice. Unless right to equality is promoted and enforced, there can be no social justice according to him. Therefore, adequate express provisions have been incorporated under Part 3 of the Indian Constitution from Article 14 to 18. Article 14 deals with right to equality. Article 15, there shall be no discrimination on the basis of sex, religion, etc., etc. Article 16 aims at protective discrimination. Protective discrimination is nothing but making some reservations for the social and educational upliftment of downtrodden people, backward people. Article 17, by which untouchability has been abolished expressly, and also abolished of title under Article 18 of the Constitution of India. These are his brainchild. He expressly incorporated these provisions so as to promote rule of law in the political democracy of the Indian society. Coming to the sphere of democratic governance, when the question of parliamentary form of government or the presidential form of government came up, he favored parliamentary form of government only. As India has already inherited the legal legacy left behind by the British. As India already experimented the parliamentary system of government, Ambedkar did not want to switch over to the presidential form of government. He believed that parliamentary form of government would reflect the will of the people. When it is presidential form of government, one man may impose all his political convictions upon the people of the entire land. Therefore, when fairly and adequately the wishes and the will of the people have been reflected, represented in the parliamentary form of government, he ruled that parliamentary form of government alone should prevail, which will become a responsible government. And this is supported by adult suffrage, voting right, which has become unconditional for every citizen of India. Thereby, he promoted the democratic governance by the Constitution of India. Then he also devoted in making of the Indian Constitution as to how the Constitution of India may be dynamic in nature. He advocated that the Constitution, the document Constitution should be dynamic. Therefore, he incorporated amending powers in Article 368 of the Constitution. According to him, Constitution is not a mere lawyer's document. It is a vehicle of life, and the spirit is always the spirit of age. Therefore, he believed that the Constitution should be dynamic in nature. It should be amendable so as to suit the changing social, economic, and political situations. So far, under the guise of Article 368, Indian Constitution witnessed totally 104 amendments. It is a futuristic constitution. It is going forever. Then he also recognized that the Supreme Court of India rule of law and also preserving the constitutional framework within which the Indian polity functions. He wanted that Supreme Court should be the protector or the guarantor of the Indian Constitution. Supreme Court should be the final interpreter of the Constitution. The Supreme Court should also enjoy power of judicial review. With reference to the first aspect, namely the protector of the Constitution, it is the Supreme Court which is considered to be the guardian. The first and the foremost function of the Supreme Court of India is the maintenance of rule of law, which is the foundation of the Constitution. Whenever any question, any controversy relating to the interpretation of any of the provisions of the Indian Constitution, Supreme Court shall remain as the final interpreter. The interpretation supplied by the Supreme Court of India should alone prevail. It is the final arbiter. So when this power of interpreting the provisions is exercised by the Supreme Court, the constitutional law developed. Power of judicial review. Ambedkar believed that the Supreme Court of India should enjoy the power of judicial review, which means that whenever the legislature enacts any law or the executive performs any function and the law made by the parliament or the executive function are not in conformity with the express provisions of the Constitution, the Supreme Court must be in a position to invalidate those legislative and executive action. That is said to be the power of judicial review. Therefore, Supreme Court occupies the very supreme place in the entire constitutional scheme of India. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar also aimed at to bring about uniform civil code. Though he wanted to incorporate a provision which may be considered to be justiciable due to certain objections from the members of the Constituent Assembly, he could not succeed to place those provisions under Part 3 of the Constitution. Instead, Part 4, the Directive Principles of State Policy. As a directive principle, he incorporated a provision relating to uniform civil code. He believed almost all social inequalities were practiced only on certain religious belief. If uniform civil code, which is made applicable to all Indians, irrespective of religion, we will be in a better position to not only promote national integration, but also to promote a just society where absolute equality can be maintained. All discrimination on the basis of religion would be abolished. However, on that score, he could not succeed, he could not prevail over the other members of the Constituent Assembly. However, he concentrated more on women empowerment, adequate provisions, not only under Part 3, which deals with fundamental rights, but also under Part 4, the Directive Principles of State Policy. He incorporated innumerable provisions for women empowerment. He believed that, in his words, I measure the progress of a community by the degree of progress which women have achieved. Therefore, women empowerment, according to him, is considered to be an index of social development. He also tried to promote secularism to the maximum extent. Secularism, he believed there shall not be any state religion. State, the government, should not sponsor any religion. Unlike certain other countries where state religion is being declared officially. Say, for example, in Pakistan, Islam is considered to be a state religion. Bhutan, Hinduism is considered to be a state religion. Though not expressly, some advanced Western countries not expressly declared Christianity as a state religion. He was totally against the religion mixing with politics. When we turn the pages of history, we believe, we feel, we notice that religion played a very vital role. The religion was inseparable from politics, the governance of the state. Pope controlled almost all Christian countries. Sultan of Turkey controlled all Muslim countries. But gradually, when power struggle started between religious head and the political head could succeed. Thereby, religious influence became separated from politics. However, we still feel in some countries, religion also continued to play a very vital role. But Ambedkar was totally against the religious influence in the governance. Therefore, he advocated that there shall not be any official religion. All religion will be treated alike. According to him, religion must mainly be a matter of principle only. It cannot be a matter of rule. The moment it degenerates into rules, it ceases to be a religion, as it kills responsibility, which is an essence of true religious act. He liked a religion that teaches liberty, equality, and fraternity. For the kind information of the audience, as he believed that Buddhism, according to him, is the religion which taught liberty, equality, and fraternity, and no semblance of any inequality or discrimination. He embraced Buddhism along with nearly 135,000 followers. Coming to recognizing fundamental right, I did not concentrate more on fundamental right being the citizens of the country. We know what fundamental rights we enjoy. Almost all human rights have been recognized. The only right, the fundamental right which has been recognized by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, right to property. Subsequently, that right alone has been deleted from his constitution by an amendment. The other fundamental rights remain as such. He believed that those fundamental rights should not remain in paper. According to him, these fundamental rights are not mere paper parchment, a testing illusion, or a promise of unreality. We know the fundamental rights are the promises made by the government to the citizens. The promise is, whatever may be the circumstance, the fundamental rights which are guaranteed to the people of India will be protected. It is a promise given by the state, by the government, that it will not violate, it will not infringe the fundamental rights of the people. Therefore, he felt that these fundamental rights should become a reality. So, keeping this concept in his mind, he wanted to expressly include a provision strengthening the hands of the Supreme Court of India as the guardian of the fundamental rights under Article 32. In the Constitution Assembly debate, he quoted that if he were called to point out an important provision in his making of the Constitution of India, he would not have any hesitation to point out that the most significant provision of the Indian Constitution is Article 32. According to him, Article 32 of the Indian Constitution is the soul of the Indian Constitution, because Article 32 confers the writ jurisdiction on the Supreme Court of India. It may be in the form of mandamus, habeas corpus, quo warranto, certiorari, or prohibition, or any other writ, any other judicial order. The Supreme Court can issue those writ and orders so as to restore the fundamental rights of the citizens which have been violated by any law or executive action. So this is said to be constitutional remedy. This is expressly included. So approaching the Supreme Court of India itself has been recognized as one of the fundamental rights. That is the glory of the Indian Constitution. We may also consider some of the other contributions of the legendary Dr. Ambedkar. The Reserve Bank of India was conceptualized by the guidelines from his book, Problem of Rupee, its origin and its solution. For that thesis, he was awarded with the doctorate degree. Taking clue from his contribution, academic contribution, Reserve Bank of India was conceptualized and subsequently established. He was responsible for the establishment of Finance Commission of India. He has to be appreciated for reduction of working hours from 12 hours to 8 hours. The entire working class community is indebted to Dr. Ambedkar for reduction of these working hours from 12 to 8 hours. He also contributed the idea of setting up of employment exchanges in India. He is also responsible for establishing Central Technical Power Board, National Power Grid System, Central Water Irrigation and Navigation Commission, Damodar Valley Project, Hirakud Project, and so on. he spent his whole life fighting against social discrimination, the system of Chaturvarna, the Hindu categorization of human society into 4 varnas and the entire Indian caste system, and he succeeded in his attempt also. As a concluding remark, I would like to say that Ambedkar had a charismatic personality. He was pragmatic for excellence, who never allowed himself to be swayed by abstract ideas and ideals. His contribution towards making of Indian Constitution is unparalleled. He devoted his entire life for the upliftment of socially and educationally backward communities. He is respected as the champion of social justice. Every Indian is highly indebted to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. In the words of Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who praised the services rendered by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the making of this constitution in the following words. According to Dr. Rajendra Prasad, I quote, I have carefully watched the working of the Constituent Assembly from the President's seat. Therefore, I appreciate the dedication of the Constituent Assembly in general and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in particular. We never did a better thing than having Dr. Ambedkar on the drafting committee as its chairman. I just recall the word Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Sardar Patel, who believed that there did not exist any competency in the minds of Indian to draft the Indian Constitution, a workable Indian Constitution. Those beliefs became false. Finally, when Dr. Ambedkar formulated, drafted a living, a vibrant, a futuristic, a commendable constitution for the entire nation, India. Ambedkar, in his Constituent Assembly, made a remark that the constitution I offered may be good or bad. It will depend on how the men in office use it. How we use the constitution, how the rulers use the constitution, it depends upon how it will be successful or a failure. That is what he meant. However, according to him, a good constitution may be if the executive feel that it may prove to be bad one, and if the executors are good enough, however bad the constitution may be, it will definitely prove to be good. The constitution he formulated is good or bad. The goodness or the badness, according to Dr. Ambedkar, depends upon the executive government, the person who executes the provisions of the constitution. Even a bad constitution will become good if the executor are good. If the executor are bad, even if the constitution is bad, it cannot become good. Therefore, he believed it is for the people to cherish, practice the ideals which are laid down by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar as the constitutional principles. At the end, I would like to thank members of ABVP for providing me a wonderful opportunity to share my views on Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the making of the Constitution of India. Once again, wholeheartedly I wish all the participants and friends who witnessed this proceeding my best wishes. Thank you very much.
What? I request our second speaker, Dr. Pratap Chandra Nayak, to share his views on today's webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Roma. Is it audible?
Most welcome, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Roma, and it is my pleasure to be here. Uh, I would like to thank the whole AVP panel of Andaman. Since last few months, I have been following the Facebook page of AVP Andaman. Really, I must appreciate the work AVP Andaman is doing, from tree plantation to distributing things. Means, you people are doing great job. So thank you, AVP panel and whole AVP team, and thank you, Professor Sundar Pandian, for expressing your vibrant view on contribution of Dr. Ambedkar with regards to the constitution. And also, I would like to thank the Vibhag Pramukh of AVP Andaman, Dr. Kandimuthu, who is the Assistant Professor of Economics from JNRM College. And I would also like to thank Dr. S.K. Jha, who is the President of AVP, and also Dr. Venkatesh, who is the HOD of Home Science, and none other than Venkatesh Singh, my friend, who is the Vice President of ABEP and currently working as Assistant Professor of Political Science. And but it is not possible without uh, the support of our Karyakartas like Roma and Parthasarathi. All these people, their tireless efforts are really making this event successful. So thank you all of you for inviting me to this great occasion. And I don't know, when Venkatesh called me to speak something on Ambedkar, I was thinking Ambedkar himself as a sea. अगर अम्बेडकर समंदर होंगे तो मैं एक छोटा सा मछली हूँ, क्या बोलूँ उसके बारे में. तो it was shocking, and anyway, I will speak something about Ambedkar and his contribution, and most of the things has been covered by Professor Pandian. Basically, I'm delighted to say that whenever there is a topic about or there is a subject about Ambedkar, I love to speak about Ambedkar. I love to speak about the great personality, the way he has contributed to this nation, and who offered a modern country to us. I love to speak because he's not only close to my heart, he is close to all of you. You must be agree with me that he is a wonderful personality and his contributions are immense. As we all know, whenever people talk about Ambedkar, they limit him and confine him within two words. The first word, they confine him like he is a leader of downtrodden, and the second thing, he is the principal architect of Indian Constitution. Is this sufficient to explain that great personality? No, these words are not sufficient to explain that personality. Even today, after so many years, Dr. Ambedkar is not fully understood or appreciated by the general mass. That is the sadness of our country, that the general mass is not yet able to fully understand what Dr. Ambedkar is and what is idea and what is his contribution. When I'm sure you all will be agree with me with these two words, that uh, principal architect of Dr. I mean, principal architect of Indian Constitution and the leader of downtrodden. But apart from this, by training, he's a big economist. During that time, he was the first economics doctorate student from London. And by training, he's an economist, he's a sociologist, he's an anthropologist, he's a jurist, and most importantly, as before the two speakers said, that most importantly, he's the first law minister of this country. We should celebrate, we should be happy to have him as a first law minister of this country. He was truly a multi-talented giant, and these are some of the some of the facts about his personality, which people still need to understand what Dr. Ambedkar is. And he has many contributions. while talking about his contribution to Indian Constitution, it's not sufficient. And since we are doing this debate on his contribution to Indian Constitution, I will be leaving little bit towards his other contributions. Please pardon me for that. Um, Basically, his major contribution to, if you analyze the overall clause and constitutional provisions of Indian Constitution, clearly you can find that Ambedkar's the whole idea of Ambedkar is for the national integration, to protect the nation, to protect the national interest. That is the whole idea. That is the major contribution which I feel while reading one by one article of the Constitution. In each article, his idea is that to protect the country, to protect the nation, to integrate India. And Dr. Ambedkar has a charismatic personality. There is no doubt about it. He was a pragmatic par excellence, who never allowed, to influence by the ideal or abstract idea. He was not influenced by any kind of ideal or abstract ideas. He strongly believed that political independence can be achieved only if we can have our democratic, if we have our social justice. And as he is a socialist, he propagated that fundamental rights have little meaning to people in the absence of democracy. And Dr. Ambedkar was the as I said, his all ideas are basically for the national integration, to protect the national interest. He was true nationalist from his heart. And as a nationalist to a modern India, we are so lucky to have him, who offered us a modern India. There are a lot of provision I will be explain why we are so lucky to be born here in this India. As Dr. Ambedkar, I quote Ambedkar, I am Indian and I am Indian in the end, and there is nulls in between. That is the famous quotation by Dr. Ambedkar. You can see how his country, how he respects his country. He was not only stand before the garden, but also his vision of social change and human personality is universally accepted. During his lifetime, he has made many efforts to create society which is based on value, equality, liberty, and fraternity. मैं एक भारतीय नागरिक हूं. आज अगर सामने कुछ बोलने का लायक हूं तो सिर्फ बाबा साहब की वजह से. अगर बाबा साहब हमें वो संविधान नहीं दिए होते तो शायद मैं आज आप लोग के सामने बोल नहीं पाया, बोलने का लायक नहीं रहता था. क्योंकि एक छोटा सा गांव से उठ के हैदराबाद सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी से IIM अहमदाबाद, द होल जर्नी, ना मैंने मेरा पापा कभी सोचा था, ना मैं कि ऐसे में कुछ बोल पाऊंगा अम्बेडकर के बारे में. आज अगर मैं इस हूँ सिर्फ बाबा साहब की वजह से हूँ. ये हम सबको मानना, जो भी स्टेटस है हमारा आज सिर्फ बाबा साहब की वजह से. अगर हमें अच्छा से संविधान नहीं दिए होते तो आज वो हमारे साथ कुछ और हुआ होता. दूसरी बात ये है, हमारे बहने लोग हैं बहुत सारे, उनको भी लग रहा होगा, शायद उनको अभी समझ में नहीं आ रहा होगा, जैसे कि पहले प्रॉपर्टी राइट था. पहले क्या होता था, अगर पिता का सारे संपत्ति सिर्फ उसका बेटा को ही जाना चाहिए. लेकिन जब अंबेडकर ने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन बनाया था, नो, अगर बेटा को भी दिया जाएगा तो बेटी का भी हक है उसमें. और दूसरा बात यह है, जैसे कि डिवोर्स, पहले क्या होता था कि डिवोर्स सिर्फ लड़कों नहीं दे सकते हैं, लड़कियों ने नहीं दे सकते हैं और उसको कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला है. आज उसी संविधान की वजह से कोई भी डिवोर्स दे रहा है, उसका 50% सैलरी, उसका 50% सैलरी इनकम से उसका बीवी को देना चाहिए. पहले लोग क्या होता था, हमारा बहनों, हमार मर मर के जीते थे दूसरे लड़कियों के साथ, दूसरे लड़कों के साथ, चाहे वो लड़का कुछ भी करे, कुछ भी हो, वो मर मर के जीते थे। लेकिन हमारा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में ऐसा प्रोविजन है जो लड़की भी खुद जाके डिवोर्स दे सकती है। दूसरा और एक बात है कि जैसे कि हम लोग या डिवोर्स की बात कर रहे हैं ना, कि लड़कियों ने भी अपना अपना मन की बात खुल के बोल सकते हैं, अपना हिसाब से अपना पति चुन सकते हैं। पहले क्या करते थे, पकड़ के लेके शादी करा देते थे। नहीं, जब से हमें अम्बेडकर ने इतना अच्छा संविधान दिया, वो हमारे पास वो राइट, सारे राइट्स हमारे पास आ चुका है। तो वी शुड बी हैप्पी टू बी ए मॉडर्न इंडिया। मैं तो भाई, मैं बोलता हूँ कि ये देश में पैदा होके मैं सबसे अच्छा काम किया, भगवान ने मुझे अच्छा काम किया। So this is what Ambedkar's contribution and to our whole life. Throughout our lifetime, we should remember Ambedkar, what is about his contribution. Constitutional provision, the more important constitutional provision. I will be going through some of the provisions where you can find out his idea, his nationalistic perspective. When we are talking about the concept of federalism, though he was not mentioned in the constitution that the word federalism, still he mentioned the Union of India. When people ask him why it is union, why it is not a federation, then with response to that, Ambedkar said that the drafting committee wanted to make it clear that though India was to be a federation, the federation was not the result of an agreement by the state to join in a federation, and that the federation not being the result of an agreement to state has the right to separate from it. The federation is a union because it is indestructible. You can remember, it is indestructible. अंबेडकर का आइडिया ये था कि हम ऐसा एक फेडरेशन बनाएंगे जिसमें हम कोई मतलब डिस्ट्रक्शन नहीं कर सकते हम लोग। whenever there is a external aggression, whenever there is a external war, the nature of the federation will be unitary. The nature of the federation will be unitary. So you can understand, जब हमारा देश को कोई बाहर से खतरा हो, हम यूनियन हो जाएंगे. That is the whole idea of mentioning Union of India. We are the Union of India. When the famous political scientist called Alfred Stephen, he classified India as a holding together. India is holding together because we have a strong center who is holding together to all the federation. Unlike the federal form of government like USA, United States, which is described as a indestructible union composed of indestructible state, India is an indestructible union of destructible state. Here he mentioned that India is a indestructible union of destructible state. You can see that how new states has formed. We can form new states by destructing the union. So that is the whole idea of his idea of federalism, which I feel when he said that it is unitary in nature. That means he means that whenever there is a external aggression, external war or oppression, the nature of the nation will be unitary, and we all will be united together to fight about the external aggression, external oppression. That is the whole idea of his concept of federalism. Even he was talking about the strong center. In his idea, he made the center strong. As we have a federal structure of government, he made the center strong. And with response to that, many people ask the questions, why center is strong? Why you are making center so strong? Because with response to that, Dr. Ambedkar said that He made the center strong. I quote Ambedkar. He made the center strong, not only to save minorities from the misrule of majority, but also for it is only the center which can work for a common end and for the general interest of the country as a whole. Ambedkar was aware about the diversity nature of this country. That's why he was saying that only the center can work for a common end, and it can work for the general interest of the country. Now you can see that how he was aware about the protection of the people, protection of the national interest. If we will not make the center strong, then in between there will be different parties and different governments, and they will work their own benefit. So Ambedkar made the center strong to work for the common goods. Right? And apart from this, you can, if you will understand, if you will analyze his idea of equality of opportunity, in the draft constitution, the fundamental rights prescribed were justifiable in the court of law. You know that the Professor Pandian explains that Article 32, right to constitutional remedy. अगर कुछ भी हुआ तो डायरेक्ट कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल रेमेडी ले सकते. And as I quote Professor, I quote Baba Saheb, fundamental right would mean establishment of equality and liberty in order to reform our social system, which is so full of inequality and discrimination, and other which conflict with our fundamental rights. My dear friends, as Ambedkar's idea, as he explained that the society is full of inequalities and discrimination. Still, I feel those discriminations and inequalities are prevails in our society. And it is our duty to take away and to carry away Ambedkar's idea to maintain that liberty, equality, and fraternity. Even if we can find out the idea of the idea of directive principles of state policy. The directive principles of state policy contain the positive obligation of the state. He was ever about the the violence. He was ever about the violence. He was he was talking about the positive obligation of the state towards its citizens. Obligation towards whom? Obligation towards its citizen. अगर हम स्टेट में है, स्टेट का भी ड्यूटी है कि हमें प्रोटेक्शन दे. He should oblige to its citizens. That's why he made the directive principle of state policy. The directives were meant to ensure social and economic democracy, which was secured by the provision of fundamental rights in a written constitution. As I quote Dr. Ambedkar, what I'll call directive principles in simply another name for instrument of instructions of the legislature and executive as to how they should exercise their power. This is the instruction. This is the instruction to the nation, to the states and the policy implementers, how they should exercise this power towards their citizen. Ambedkar well aware about the misuse of power. That's why he made these directive principles of state policy. You can imagine, अगर हम सोचेंगे, how carefully he was thinking about each and every citizen. How carefully he was thinking about each and every citizen. If we can understand, if we will go back to his idea of national integration, in the draft constitution, Ambedkar prescribed about this single citizenship, as Professor Pandian said. He was prescribed about single citizenship. The idea of single citizenship में आप देख सकते हैं कि वो देश कितना बड़ा देशभक्त थे, और देश को कितना प्यार करते थे कि सिंगल सिटीजनशिप, तुम एक ही कंट्री का सिटीजनशिप ही हो सकते हो. एंड another idea, a single judiciary and uniformity in the fundamental law to integrate Indian society, which was not only divided into caste and class, but also into region, religion, language, traditions, and cultures. Therefore, a strong a strong center was, as I was explaining before, the diversity nature of this our country, where to maintain equality, liberty, and fraternity, we need to have a strong center. And also, Ambedkar, he was thinking that our nationalism can be, means the idea of making constitution is to strengthen the nationalism, the idea of nationalism. These days, the way our anti-social elements are prevailing and emerging, if Ambedkar would have here now, he must be crying why these anti-social elements are prevailing in different different places. And he was thinking that this constitution can strengthen our nationalism, because at the initial stage, Baba Sahib was critical about this Article 370. We must be happy, we must be thankful to the present government that he revoked this Article 370. If Ambedkar would have here, he must be very happy that okay, the present government has done something. What I was thinking, मैं जब 50 साल पहले सोचता था, आज ये गवर्नमेंट करके दिखाया. अगर अंबेडकर आज होते, वो सबसे ज्यादा खुशी होते. जब when there was debate about special status to Jammu and Kashmir by Article 370, Nehru is the only person who sent ahead. Why? Because to appease Sheikh Abdullah. शेख अब्दुल्ला को खुशी करने के लिए नेहरू जी ने 370 दे दिया, जिसको अंबेडकर ने अपोज कर रहा था. एंड अंबेडकर रोट ए लेटर टू शेख अब्दुल्ला.
हेलो सर.
यस.
हेलो सर, मेरे को, मैं अन्वेश बोल रहा हूँ सर.
हाँ जी
सर, ये चीज को नेहरू ने नहीं सर, गांधी जी ने भी इस आर्टिकल 370 को आई थिंक सपोर्ट किया था.
हाँ, आई एग्री.
गांधी जी ने भी शायद सपोर्ट किया था, केवल
हाँ जी.
नेहरू ही नहीं, दोनों ने एक्सेप्ट किया था.
हाँ जी.
जी, वैसे अन्वेष,
यस
अब अपना डाउट बाद में पूछिए, पहले डॉक्टर नायर को कंटिन्यू करने दीजिए.
Okay.
हाँ जी, ठीक.
When
Okay,
you are
that's
talking about Gandhi, I must say that Gandhi was not in favor of this Article 370 special status on the basis of religion and language. He was never supporting that. But as Nehru, who is the person who supported and who implemented Article 370 by giving Article 370, we must be thankful to our present government, who has done an excellent job to maintain the idea of secularism in this country. And when Ambedkar, and to oppose this Article 370, Ambedkar wrote a letter to Sheikh Abdullah about regarding this Article 370. I quote Ambedkar: "You wish India should protect your borders. She should build roads in your area. She should supply you food grains, and Kashmir should get equal status as India. But government of India should have only limited powers, and Indian people should have no rights in Kashmir.
जीवन बोलने का
To
जगह
give consent to this
दे देगा।
proposal
नंबर दे
would
के
be
इसमें फोन नंबर है ना,
prejudice things
तो हम आपको
against the interest of India." You remember, you see his last line of the letter.
वो आएगा ना शाम को, तो लंच करने के हम बोले, ठीक है सर. ओके सर.
Can someone mute this Avinash? Okay, you can see its last line. To give consent to this proposal would be a
अन्वेष जी, आप अपना माइक बंद कर दीजिए.
to give when Ambedkar wrote a letter to Sheikh Abdullah about this Article 370, he wrote that you wish India should protect your borders, she should build road in your area, she should supply you food grains, and Kashmir should get equal status as India. But government of India should have only limited power, and Indian people should have no rights in Kashmir. to give consent to this proposal, you can remember this last line, you can think how, what kind of nationalist Baba Sahib was. To give consent to this proposal would be a treacherous thing against the interest of India. And I, as the law minister of India, will never do it. This is the last line of Ambedkar's letter, who wrote it to Sheikh Abdullah. And apart from this, he was his idea of secularism, as Professor Pandian said, that he was never in favor of a religion based rule. That's why he was in favor of uniform civil code, but there was many oppositions came out to oppose uniform civil code, and he was also critical of this Muslim personal law and tried his best to abolish in favor of uniform civil code. Ambedkar didn't agree to fact that Muslims had any immutable and uniform law in India up to 1935. Ambedkar emphasized that in a secular state, religion should not be allowed to govern all human activities, and that personal law should be divorced from the religion. You can see that how carefully he was thinking. If religion will be the basis for rule of law, then it might be harm the national integration. That is the overall idea of Ambedkar. And his idea about this uh, the idea of Bharat, Ambedkar's idea of Bharat. He was supporter of he was supporter of the ancient texts, but he was critical of the caste system. And we all should be agree with that, the caste system, which was a major problem in our Indian society, to integrate to integrate themselves for the national integration. We are the responsible citizen. We should focus on these are the issues. And he was also fully understanding the need of spirituality of this nation. As he was an Indian, you can see he was well aware about उसको अम्बेडकर जी को पता था कि ये देश भारत है और इसका जो कॉज रूट है, कल्चर, इसका जो कल्चर है, स्पिरिचुअलिटी इसका कल्चर है. अगर हम रामायण से देखें, महाभारत से देखें, जो भी इसका जो रूट कॉज है, ये स्पिरिचुअल कल्चर है. ही वॉज इन फेवर ऑफ स्पिरिचुअलिटी ऑफ दिस नेशन, बट ही वॉज क्रिटिकल ऑफ द ट्रेडिशनल rites and rituals. You can think that, you can find out the differences. There are many misconceptions going around the country that Ambedkar was completely against the Hinduism. No, that is not at all. He was against the Hindu norms and conditions. He was against the rites and rituals, which was suppressing one section of the society. And to oppose those traditional norms and conditions and rituals and rites, his whole idea was the annihilation of caste. But he was not in favor of annihilation of dharma. He was well aware about this country, that this country originated with great culture. हमारा जो सभ्यता है स्पिरिचुअल सभ्यता है, और ये कंट्री को अगर हम धर्म को विभाग कर देंगे तो ये कंट्री चलेगा ही नहीं. He was well about this Indian traditional culture, and he was never an anti-social or anti-national. If Ambedkar would have now, he must be anti-national for us, but he was the condition of the society. sorry, I lost the connection in between. Uh, is it audible now?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Roma, it is okay. I lost the connection in between, so sorry. Now, so the whole idea of Ambedkar is to maintain a society which is based on value, liberty, equality, and fraternity. My dear friends, celebrating his anniversary is not to get attention or not to get credit from somebody. Celebrating this occasion is to remember his ideas and his understanding of this great nation. How we can take forward his ideas and his visions to maintain peace and harmony in this society. See, our responsibility, we have our responsibility to maintain peace and harmony in this society. At the end, I want to say that cultivation of mind is the ultimate aim of human existence. As the mind cultivate, they seek the light of knowledge. As knowledge, they understand Baba Sahib. As they understand themselves, they are on the right path of liberation. थैंक यू. लास्ट में ये बात मैं बोलूंगा, ये करवा अभी हम रुकने वाला नहीं है बाबा, आपका देश को कभी झुकने नहीं देंगे. थैंक यू. जय भारत.
Thanks a lot for throwing lights upon Dr. Ambedkar and his contribution to Indian Constitution. तो अब मैं हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट से दरख्वास्त करूंगी कि अगर किसी को अपना आचार विचार व्यक्त करना है तो कर सकते हैं.
हेलो 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 हेलो, कोई मेरे को सुन रहा है? क्या मेरी आवाज आ
हाँ जी,
रही है?
बोलिए. जी
हाँ
हाँ.
मैडम, मेरा नाम अन्वेष है मैडम. मेरा एक संतोष सर ने पहला जब बोला था तो उन्होंने एक वर्ग संघर्ष पे बोला था. वर्ग संघर्ष का बाबा साहब ने नहीं किया, लेकिन मेरे को लगता है कि बाबा साहब ने सबसे पहले वर्ग संघर्ष की बात उठाई थी. ठीक है, इसका उदाहरण ये है कि 1927 में मैडम इन्होंने ही सबसे पहले जो है सत्याग्रह किया था. गांधी जी से भी पहले इन्होंने पानी के लिए संघर्ष किया था. जो वर्ग विशेष के दलित जो कहते हैं ना हम लोग, जिसको आज हम लोग नहीं मानते, लेकिन उस वक्त में बहुत ज्यादा था. तो वर्ग संघर्ष जो है पानी के लिए इन्होंने पहला बार वर्ग संघर्ष सत्याग्रह के माध्यम से किया था. इस बात से मेरी सहमति नहीं है कि मतलब वर्ग संघर्ष नहीं किया. वर्ग संघर्ष इन्होंने किया है. और एक बात, मैं पांडियन सर के एक स्टेटमेंट था कि मैडम भूटान इज द स्टेट रिलीजन. भूटान जो है स्टेट रिलीजन नहीं है मैडम. ठीक है, वहाँ पे बुद्धिस्ट जो है 75% है, लेकिन वहाँ पे कोई स्टेट रिलीजन नहीं है भूटान का. इसके अगेंस्ट में अगर सर लोग अगर मेरे को कुछ बताना चाहे तो बता सकते हैं मैडम. मेरी जहाँ तक समझ है मैंने अपना विचार दे दिया है. ठीक है मैडम.
जी, ओके. थैंक यू सो मच.
अवनीश के लिए मेरे पास, मैं अवनीश की पूरी क्वेश्चंस में पहला वाला नहीं सुन पाया क्योंकि इंटरनेट कुछ प्रॉब्लम था, लेकिन सेकेंड में सुन पाया हूँ कि इसमें उन्होंने बांग्लादेश के लिए कहा है कि
नहीं,
स्टेट
बांग्लादेश
रिलीजन नहीं था.
बांग्लादेश नहीं, भूटान. आई रिपीट, नॉट बांग्लादेश, भूटान.
सॉरी, भूटान के लिए ये है कि स्टेट रिलीजन करके कोई डायरेक्ट वर्ड तो नहीं है, लेकिन भूटान में हिंदुइज्म और बुद्धिज्म, ये दो रिलीजन स्टेट से प्रोटेक्टेड है। रेस्ट रिलीजन के लिए आप अगर उनकी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को देखेंगे, भूटान की कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को, तो
सर
बुद्धिज्म
भूटान की
एंड
हाँ
हिंदुइज्म,
Sorry for the
and
interruption.
Buddhism-
My dear friend,
Yeah,
sorry for the
please.
interruption.
यस सर प्लीज
Yeah,
प्लीज
yeah,
सर
I regret for the error, and it is not Bhutan, it is Nepal. It is
Sir,
Nepal.
Nepal is the presently that is the secular country, sir. They are declared.
When they declared it is a secular country,
सर कल अभी तो वहाँ पे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हो गया, डेमोक्रेटिक वे से आ गया। अभी तो कई सालों से वहाँ पे पहले था सर ये चीज। जब से वहाँ पे किंगडम का सिस्टम हट गया, उसके बाद से वहाँ पे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन इम्पोज हो गया सर।
I stand corrected. I stand corrected.
सर वहाँ पे
Previously it was.
अभी जो है
previous-
एशियन कंट्री, एशिया में कहीं में भी जो है कोई भी जगह में एक मतलब कोई भी जगह में हिंदुइज्म को कोई स्टेट रिलीजन या फिर किसी भी रिलीजन को नहीं है। हमारे जो एशिया में मैक्सिमम जितने भी कंट्री है, केवल एक बांग्लादेश, अफगानिस्तान एंड पाकिस्तान, these three countries are
Sorry.
Islamic declared to the state religion. Even Sri Lanka is the not declare any state religion. कोई जगह में भी स्टेट रिलीजन बोल के हमारे आस पड़ोस में जितने भी कंट्री, भले ही वो किसी को प्रोटेक्टेड कर रहे होंगे, लेकिन वो मतलब किस तरह से बोलने से इनडायरेक्ट वे से उसको प्रोटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, लेकिन डायरेक्ट प्रोटेक्शन में किसी का भी नहीं है। केवल बांग्लादेश, पाकिस्तान एंड अफगानिस्तान, ये तीनों ही केवल कंट्री है जो इस्लामिक स्टेट को एशिया में जो है इस्लामिक बोल के अपने आप को स्टेट रिलीजन डिक्लेयर किया हुआ है। एक्चुअल में मैं इस बारे में मैं इसलिए बोल पा रहा हूँ सर कि मैं बीच में किसी संविधान मैं एक्चुअल में कुछ रिसर्च कर रहा था सीए के ऊपर, तो मैं उसी वक्त में मेरे को ये सब डॉक्यूमेंट मेरे पास है सर डॉक्यूमेंट्स।
नहीं साहब सही बोल रहे हैं,
जी सर।
हो गई हिंदुइज्म एंड बुद्धिज्म, आपने जो कहते हैं वो भी ज्यादा वहाँ पे है। प्रोटेक्टेड को ये नहीं है कि वो नागरिकता उनकी नहीं रह सकती है, उनको प्रिविलेजेस नहीं दी जा रही हैं। दिस टू certain benefits from this, ये चीज भूटान के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन है।
सर भूटान के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में सर वो 100% अगर आप देखेंगे ना सर, इंडिया में भी जैसे आप सेकुलरिज्म वर्ड जो हमारे इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में नहीं होने के बावजूद भी, तब भी हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में वो ऑलरेडी सेकुलरिज्म के कई वर्ड्स ऐसे इनडायरेक्टली बाबा साहब ने पहले ही डाल दिए थे।
हैं कि इंडियन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन भी सेकुलरिज्म नहीं है, इसमें तो और एक डॉक्टर सर ने क्वेश्चन, मैं एक छोटा दूंगा कि उस अकेजन पे ये पंडित नेहरू ने ही उनको बोला था कि किनको अब्दुल्ला जी को कि you just go to the Ambedkar, he is a lawyer and he is going to prepare a draft of suitable article to be included in the constitution. What he said, his word was, I'm just quote, you want India to defend Kashmir, feed its people, undertake its all-round development, give equal rights all over the country, but you do not want the rest of Indians to have equal rights in Kashmir. I am the law minister of India. I cannot betray my country. Thereafter, Swami Iyengar, state minister, and Mr. Iyengar has added the 370 article, not the Dr. Ambedkar. Ambedkar directly refused it. Thank you. Yes. I completed my submission. Roma, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. So now I request Athar Sarsi, City Secretary of ABVP, for vote of thanks.
नमस्कार, मैं यू पार्थ सारथी, अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद का सिटी सेक्रेटरी। आज पूरे अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद अंडमान परिवार की ओर से आप सबको 64वें सामाजिक समरसता दिवस की शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। आज के इस वेबिनार में हमारे बीच में मुख्य वक्ता के रूप में मौजूद डॉक्टर प्रोफेसर एम एस सौंदरा पांडियन सर को भी मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं। सर, आपने हमें मार्गदर्शित किया और अपने विचार व्यक्त। I, on behalf of Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad family, heartily thanks Professor Dr. M. Saundra Pandian sir for attending today's webinar and for sharing his views on topic. Sir, we are feeling very to have your presence, sir. Thank you very much. And I also thank Speaker Dr. Pratap Chandra Nayak for sharing his view on today's topic. Sir, we are very much fortunate to listen to your voice. We are feeling ourselves very lucky. We are today listen as ABP speaker. थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। और साथ ही आज के इस वेबिनार के सभी पार्टिसिपेंट्स को मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं कि आप सबने इस वेबिनार में पार्ट लिया और इसे सफल बनाने में अपना योगदान दिया। धन्यवाद। एंड आई वंस अगेन थैंक्स प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर एम एस सौंदरा पांडियन सर फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग थैंक यू सर। एंड आई वंस अगेन थैंक्स प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर एम एस सौंदरा पांडियन सर फॉर प्रोवाइडिंग प्रीमाइसेस एज वेल एज सम अदर सपोर्ट फॉर कंडक्टिंग दिस वेबिनार स्मूथली। थैंक यू वेरी मच सर। आखिर में मैं आज के इस वेबिनार की कोऑर्डिनेटर रोमा मजिंदर जी और को कोऑर्डिनेटर श्री सिद्धांत राय शर्मा जी को भी धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं, जिन्होंने इस शानदार वेबिनार का आयोजन किया। आप दोनों को भी धन्यवाद। अंत में मैं आप सबसे यही निवेदन करता हूं कि हमें उम्मीद है आने वाले समय पर भी आप अखिल भारतीय विद्यार्थी परिषद को इसी तरह अपना योगदान देते रहेंगे, ताकि हम राष्ट्रीय पुनर्निर्माण विचारधारा की ओर पर अपना योगदान देने के लिए बढ़ चढ़कर अपना योगदान दे सके। धन्यवाद।
जी धन्यवाद सारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स का। अब अभी आप सब लेफ्ट कर सकते हैं एंड इसका वीडियो जल्द ही यूट्यूब के हमारे अपने चैनल ABVP ANI में अवेलेबल होगी। थैंक यू, थैंक्स अ लॉट।